On this episode of Eat, Sleep, Drive, I get a new daily driver, but not just any old beater like I usually do. I just bought this Ford Fiesta ST for $7,800, making it the cheapest Fiesta ST in the... Oh, God. The hell was that? Oh yeah, Fiesta ST. I just bought this car for $7,800. I'm so excited. Today, guys, I want to explain to you why it's $7,800 because as you can imagine, you don't buy a car of this caliber for $7,800 without some minor problems, and I think they're minor. So I'm going to be talking to you guys about how I found this deal, some of the problems with it. We'll go over the car, kind of comb over it, and then I'll go for a drive and tell you guys about how fun these cars are to drive and why indeed I did decide to buy the cheapest Fiesta ST in the... Oh. I ended up finding the car on Auto Trader of all places, and I was absolutely shocked to find it for the price of $8,300. It's very rare to find these cars under 10 grand. It does have 86,000 miles, but I was shocked to find that it does have no accidents and the title came back clean. It wasn't rebuilt. So I ended up calling this guy up and he was super transparent about all the little things, mostly cosmetic, wrong with the car. We negotiated a little bit over the phone and settled on $7,800, making it the cheapest Fiesta ST in the country, so I had to go buy it. So let's talk about why this car was $7,800. And let me preface that with, I don't think these are big problems by any means, but this is what I've found so far. This is what was described to me from the previous owner. And I think he really undersold this car to me, to be honest. He kind of over-described some of the problems, which is a good issue to have. But let's start with this first most peculiar thing, the things that are missing from this car. The engine cover is missing. And once again, not a big deal, doesn't really bother me. I don't even like engine covers, but that makes you just wonder, like, was it modified before and then returned to stock, or like just why was it removed? That just seems strange to me. Furthermore, for being a new car, a lot of times when you buy older cars, they won't have floor mats because they're so gross, but this one's already missing the floor mats, which is kind of strange to me. Once again, not a big deal, but just more questions where I'm like, why? Why is this? Now, while we're in here, the first thing I noticed in the photos is this stain. That really grosses me out. So, you know, while we're in here, let's just put a plastic bag over that and pretend that's not there. So there are some things like that where I'm just sort of like, what was going on in this interior? It's gonna need a very deep clean before I daily this thing. But let's go over some of the other bumps and bruises this thing has. First is this rather strange dent on the hood. Like, obviously the hood is up, but it's a weird location to have a ding. Not a big deal though. Coming around here, as far as we're continuing dings, there's this strange ding right here. I'm just wondering how that happened. Was there some sort of roof rack on here and they opened the hatch? I'm not sure. Really weird spot for a ding. It's a little bit of rash here on the side. Once again, not a huge deal. Now these wheels are in a little bit rough shape. There's quite a bit of curbing and they look like they were painted very poorly because the paint is chipping off and stuff like that. So it's just stuff like that that kind of makes me a little bit concerned, but overall, I still think it's a heck of a deal for $7,800. Some dings and bruises, as you can see on the side here, but I'm gonna clean this thing up, get it fully detailed, and I think it'll be all right. But let's talk about not only what this one's like to drive, but why I was looking at Fiesta STs to begin with. So outside of the condition of this car, why did I decide to buy it? Because it wasn't just that it was a good price, which it was a good price, but I was already looking at Fiesta STs. So why is that? Simply put, this is a very fun little car. And there are different kinds of fun when it comes to cars. So for example, you have my 911, which is fun because it's incredibly capable. The limits are very high. It's a thrill being able to go fast in it. But then there's fun like this car
which is different because maybe the limits aren't as high, but it's more of just like a playful car. Now, you're obviously not going to be able to take turns as fast as you are in a 911. You're not going to be able to, accelerate as fast, but it's so eager. This 1.6 liter turbo engine has a ton of torque for what it is, and it makes it feel probably faster than it is, but it just always wants to go. 2,500 RPM, I just put my foot down a little bit, and it just wants to go. It's got torque down low. It's just got power everywhere. It handles uncannily well for a front wheel drive car. If you can look past the whole front wheel drive part from a spec sheet perspective, it's just a brilliant handling little car. Now, make no mistake, you do know that it's front wheel drive. Like, you feel some torque steer every now and then, and maybe a little understeer if you don't drive it properly, but you can get the back to come around, believe it or not. And it's just a little joy to drive. Now, outside of it being fun, because there's a lot of fun cars you can buy, it's also very sensible in the fact that it gets good fuel economy. You can get plus above 30 miles per gallon in this car. But more importantly, and this is an underrated stat in my opinion, this car takes 87. Like, Ford says it is totally fine to run 87 in this car. That's pretty incredible because a lot of cars, especially turbo cars that are fun, almost always take premium gas, 91, 93, whatever is in your area. The thing about that is, it used to be that it was a 30% or a 30-cent price hike from regular to premium. But now in 2018, it's like 70 cents from regular to premium. So there's a huge cost savings there. It's a fun car, it's newer, so hopefully it'll be reliable, knock on wood. And it gets good fuel economy, it's got a hatch, so it just kind of, for a daily driver, it met a lot of requirements for me. So that's ultimately why I decided to buy it.
Well guys, I hope you enjoyed the video learning about my Fiesta ST. I'm super pumped about this car because it just checks all those boxes that we talked about in this video. It just gets good fuel economy, takes 87, it's fun to drive, it's got some room. I'm just super pumped about it, and I paid such a low amount of money for it. So if you guys want to see the progress of this car, I'm going to detail it up and just kind of see what it ends up becoming. Be happy to have you guys like and subscribe. And in the comments below, let me know what you guys think about the cheapest Fiesta ST in the country.